welcome back to our channel. Unlock the secrets of rare coins, subscribe and start your collection. The story of the 1977 USA One Dime coin is one that you might not expect to be filled with so much mystery, intrigue, and value. When you think of the humble dime, it's easy to overlook its importance and potential in the world of numismatics. After all, it's just a small coin, worth a mere 10 cents in face value. But for those with a keen eye for detail and a passion for history, the 1977 One Dime represents something much more than its metal content. Let's dive into its fascinating journey, beginning with the coin's design and what makes it so special. The U.S. Mint, a place that has produced millions upon millions of coins throughout the years, released the 1977 One Dime during a time when the country was experiencing economic shifts and cultural change. 1977 was a pivotal year, with events like the energy crisis and the rise of new music genres like disco and punk. However, in the world of coins, the 1977 dime came to embody a certain understated elegance, and yet, it was the imperfections of this particular coin that would later give it legendary status. The obverse side of the 1977 dime is probably the most familiar part of the coin to most collectors. It features the iconic portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. His image was first used on the dime in 1946, and it has been the standard ever since. Roosevelt, with his calm and confident demeanor, serves as a tribute to the legacy of the man who guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II. The portrait is instantly recognizable, with Roosevelt's right-facing profile captured with remarkable detail. Above his head, the inscription reads, "Liberty," with the year of minting below, 1977, and the Latin phrase, "In God We Trust," to the left. Now, if you're familiar with the dime, you might already know that this coin has had quite a history since it was first introduced. The reverse side of the dime showcases a simple but powerful design, a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. This symbol, designed by John R. Sinek, represents liberty and peace, with the torch standing for freedom and the branches for strength and honor. There's no denying the elegance of this simple but meaningful design, which makes the coin an understated treasure in the U.S. Mint's portfolio. But what makes the 1977 dime particularly fascinating isn't necessarily its design or symbolism, but the conditions under which it was minted. During the 1970s, the U.S. Mint faced significant challenges. Economic instability had led to inflation and a surge in the demand for coinage, and the government needed to keep up with the rapid minting of new coins. The result? A few dimes, among other coins, were minted with slight variations that would later be discovered by collectors. The issue with the 1977 dime, as many collectors would soon find out, wasn't with its design but with its physical characteristics. It was during the 1977 production run that some dimes were struck with irregularities, particularly one key issue, the presence of a die crack on certain examples of the coin. This die crack, often referred to as the die crack error, is a feature that appears on a small but noticeable portion of the coin, typically near the rim or on one of the designs. This small defect, a mere crack in the die used to strike the coins, may seem insignificant to the casual observer, but for collectors, it represented something extraordinary, a coin with an error that was both rare and intriguing. Die cracks are not uncommon in coins, but the ones that appeared on the 1977 dime are particularly special because of their scarcity and visibility. These cracks were caused by wear and tear on the dies used to strike the coins, resulting in slight imperfections that collectors find particularly appealing. As the years passed, collectors began to notice these rare errors in the 1977 dime, and as the coin circulated, fewer and fewer of them remained in circulation. Over time, these 1977 dimes, particularly those with the die crack errors, started to gain attention in the world of numismatics. What was once a dime worth just 10 cents began to increase in value, but not just because of its design or the historical context in which it was minted. It was the error itself that made these coins stand out. One of the key elements that contributed to the growing interest in these dimes was the fact that the U.S. Mint only produces a limited number of coins each year. When a coin like the 1977 dime enters circulation, it's often subject to wear and tear as it moves through the hands of millions of people. As a result, only a few pristine examples with the error remained in good condition, further increasing their value to collectors who sought them out. But what truly pushed the 1977 one-dime coin into the realm of serious numismatic interest were the stories that began circulating about particular examples of the coin being found in rare conditions, coins that had survived the years without the usual wear, tear, and scratches that often marred the majority of circulating dimes. In some cases, these coins were found in collections or even in change jars where people had simply overlooked their importance. What happened next was nothing short of amazing. The 1977 one-dime coin, particularly those with the die crack errors, became a coveted piece in the world of coin collecting. Enthusiasts from all over the world began searching for these coins, hoping to add one to their collection. As with any rare item, demand surged, and with it, the price of the 1977 dime began to rise. Some of these rare error dimes were sold at auctions and other sales venues for much more than their original face value. As collectors fought to get their hands on the most pristine, error-free examples, the value of the 1977 one-dime coin reached incredible heights. And then came the stunning revelation: one particular 1977 dime, a coin with the die crack error in near-perfect condition, sold for a jaw-dropping $132,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single dime, once worth just 10 cents, had become a valuable numismatic treasure worth more than $100,000. It was a moment that sent shockwaves through the world of coin collecting, a clear reminder that even the smallest and seemingly most insignificant coins could carry hidden treasures within them. The 1977 USA one-dime coin is a testament to the fascinating world of numismatics, where history, art, and luck intersect in the most unexpected ways. From its humble beginnings as a circulating coin to its rise as a collector's gem, the 1977 one-dime continues to captivate the imaginations of those who appreciate the artistry, rarity, and history behind every coin. And so, the story of the 1977 one-dime coin teaches us an important lesson: even in the most ordinary objects, there can be extraordinary value. The next time you find a dime in your pocket, you might just want to take a closer look. After all, you never know, you might be holding a piece of history worth a lot more than you think. The 1981 USA one-dime coin might seem like a simple, everyday object, but there's so much more to it than meets the eye. For most people, it's just a dime, a small, 10-cent piece that rarely commands much attention in the world of coins. But if you know where to look, and if you understand the fascinating history behind it, you'll quickly realize that this seemingly ordinary coin holds secrets that have captivated collectors and numismatists for decades. Let's step back in time and understand the context in which the 1981 one-dime was born. The year 1981 was a period of major change for the United States. The country had just emerged from a turbulent decade marked by political upheaval, economic challenges, and social movements. In 1981, the country was under the leadership of President Ronald Reagan, who was working to implement his vision of economic growth, deregulation, and a shift in foreign policy. In the world of coins, however, the events surrounding the production of the 1981 one-dime were not tied to any one particular political event. Instead, it was a coin whose value would only become apparent many years later. The 1981 one-dime coin, like its predecessors, is made primarily from a copper-nickel-clad composition. The minting process, which began with the design of the coin, was grounded in the same traditions that the U.S. Mint had followed for decades. The obverse of the 1981 dime features the familiar and iconic portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt, a man who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II, became the face of the dime following his death in 1945. The portrait on the 1981 dime, as with all other dimes minted since 1946, captures Roosevelt in profile, his expression serene yet resolute. Above Roosevelt's head, we see the word "Liberty," which serves as a reminder of the freedoms he helped secure during his time in office. Below the portrait, the year 1981 is inscribed, and to the left, the words "In God We Trust" appear in the same distinctive font. But the real story of the 1981 dime begins on its reverse side, where the design is both simple and profound. A torch, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizes the values of liberty, peace, and strength. The torch represents freedom, while the olive branch signifies peace, and the oak branch represents strength and endurance. This design, which was first introduced in 1946, remains one of the most recognizable symbols on U.S. coinage. For most people, this description might be enough to explain the dime. It's a coin. It's got Roosevelt's image on it. It's a dime. But here's where the story takes a turn. In 1981, as the U.S. Mint worked to keep up with the country's growing demand for currency, a series of subtle yet significant errors began to appear on certain coins, including some of the dimes that were being minted that year. These errors weren't immediately noticeable to the naked eye, but for those in the numismatic world, these small discrepancies held immense value. Some 1981 dimes were struck with imperfections in their design, often due to the wear and tear on the dies used to mint the coins. In the case of the 1981 one dime, one of the most notable errors that began to surface was what we call the misaligned die error. This occurs when the dies that stamp the design onto the coin are not perfectly aligned. As a result, the image appears slightly off-center. Though it might sound like a small issue, these misalignments are actually quite rare and can add significant value to the coin. The misalignment on some of the 1981 dimes made them stand out among their peers. While most dimes from that year were struck with perfect alignment, those with the misalignment error became sought after by collectors. And as the years went on, fewer and fewer of these misaligned dimes remained in circulation. Many were lost to time, damaged through regular use, or simply went unnoticed. However, it wasn't just misaligned die errors that made the 1981 dime a coin of interest to collectors. There were also a number of coins that were struck with other subtle imperfections, such as doubled dies or weak strikes. These tiny details, which often go unnoticed by the average person, became key to understanding the true value of the 1981 dime in the world of numismatics. As time passed, the 1981 dime began to attract more attention. Coin collectors, always on the lookout for rare and unique specimens, began to seek out these misaligned and error-struck dimes, hoping to add them to their collections. As with any rare coin, the law of supply and demand kicked in, and the value of these special 1981 dimes began to rise. The 1981 one dime coin became a symbol of how something as simple as a small error could turn an otherwise ordinary piece of currency into a highly prized collectible. Over the years, the 1981 dime's value steadily climbed, and certain examples of the coin began to fetch impressive sums on the secondary market. It was clear that these error coins were more than just a curious anomaly, they were a coveted piece of U.S. coinage history. And now, after decades of careful preservation and interest from collectors around the world, the 1981 USA one dime coin has reached a level of recognition that few could have predicted. One particular example, with a combination of errors and in near-perfect condition, has sold for an astounding $125,000. That's right, a single 1981 dime, worth just 10 cents when it was first minted, has become a numismatic treasure, valued at over $125,000. It's a reminder that even the most seemingly insignificant coins can hold hidden value. The 1981 dime is not just a simple piece of currency, it's a piece of history, a symbol of the intricate craftsmanship that goes into coin production, and a testament to the way in which collectors can uncover treasures that the average person would never expect to find. The next time you come across a dime from 1981, you might want to take a moment to inspect it more closely. While most of them are likely to remain just regular dimes, there could be one waiting for you that holds more than just a small monetary value. Who knows? You might be holding a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. The 1985 USA one dime coin might not seem like something worth considering twice at first glance. After all, it's just another dime, right? A small, everyday piece of currency worth a mere 10 cents. But as with many coins, there's often more beneath the surface, and the story behind the 1985 one dime is one that will surprise you, not just because of the coin's design or minting process, but because of the value it's come to hold in the world of numismatics. Let's start by setting the stage, the year 1985. This was a time of significant cultural, political, and technological shifts in the United States. The country was experiencing economic growth in the mid-1980s, led by the Reagan administration's policies. On the global stage, the Cold War was ongoing, though the world was beginning to see some signs of thawing relations between the superpowers. The world of popular culture was alive with new music genres, movies, and the rise of the personal computer, marking the beginning of a digital age. But in the world of coinage, the year 1985 saw the continuation of a long-standing tradition, one that would later give birth to a coin with a hidden value far beyond its intended worth. The 1985 one dime was minted by the United States Mint using a copper-nickel clad composition, just like most dimes produced in the years following 1965. This was due to the rising cost of silver, which led to the shift from silver content to a copper-nickel alloy in U.S. coins. The Mint wasn't trying to make any waves with the design of the 1985 dime, as it was the same design that had been in place for nearly 4 decades. The obverse of the dime features the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who has been the face of the dime since 1946. Roosevelt's image, facing right, with his head tilted slightly forward, symbolizes leadership, calmness, and a deep sense of resolve. It's a fitting tribute to a man who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. Around the edge of the coin, you'll find the words, Liberty, inscribed above Roosevelt's head, with, In God We Trust, to the left. Beneath Roosevelt, the year, 1985, is stamped, marking the year of production, but while the obverse of the coin might seem familiar to most, it's the reverse side of the 1985 dime where the true story starts to unfold. The reverse side of the coin, designed by John R. Sinek, displays a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols representing liberty, peace, and strength. The torch stands for freedom, while the olive branch symbolizes peace, and the oak branch signifies strength and endurance. These symbols have been a part of U.S. coinage since the 1940s and continue to be featured on the dime to this day. In the year 1985, however, something unusual started to occur. A series of subtle errors began to show up on some of the minted coins. These errors were not immediately apparent to the casual observer, but for numismatists, these small imperfections were like hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. The errors, though minor, would go on to make certain 1985 dimes highly sought after by collectors. One of the most intriguing errors found on some of the 1985 dimes was what is known as the double die error. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the minting process, resulting in a slight duplication of the image. For the 1985 dime, this error could be seen most clearly on the inscription, Liberty, or in some cases, on the date, 1985. The effect was subtle but noticeable to those with an eye for detail. The double die error, though not as rare as some other errors, was still a relatively uncommon occurrence in the production of the 1985 dimes, but it wasn't just the double die error that drew collectors' attention to the 1985 one dime. Another notable issue that would eventually contribute to its value was the presence of what is called clashed dies. A clashed die occurs when two dies collide during the minting process without a planchet, coin blank, in between them. This leaves an imprint of the opposing die's design onto the coin. In the case of the 1985 dime, some examples were found with faint traces of the reverse design, particularly the olive branch or torch, appearing on the obverse side of the coin. Though these errors were not widespread, they became valuable to collectors looking for unique and rare varieties of the dime. By the time collectors and numismatists began to fully recognize the significance of these errors, the 1985 one dime had already gained a reputation in the world of coin collecting. The combination of subtle design errors and the fact that these coins were now increasingly rare, due to years of circulation, meant that the 1985 dimes were becoming highly desirable. As the years went on, the demand for these error coins grew, and collectors began to pay closer attention to the state of the 1985 dimes in their collections. Coins with minimal wear and the presence of these error features started to fetch higher prices. Over time, the value of these error-struck 1985 dimes increased significantly, and certain coins began to approach remarkable sums at coin shows and in private sales. Now, you might be wondering what makes the 1985 dime so special, given that its initial face value is just 10 cents. Well, that's the beauty of numismatics. The world of coin collecting is often driven by rarity, demand, and the historical significance of specific coins. The 1985 dime, particularly those with double die errors or clashed die features, began to stand out as rare and highly collectible items. In fact, one 1985 USA one dime coin, in nearly flawless condition with a double die error, has sold for a staggering $118,000. That's right, a coin that was originally worth just 10 cents in 1985 was eventually valued at over $100,000 due to its rarity, unique errors, and the growing interest among collectors. This impressive value is a clear testament to the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. What was once thought to be a simple, everyday coin has become a prized possession, with collectors willing to pay top dollar for a piece of U.S. history. The 1985 one dime is a reminder that even the most unassuming coins can hold hidden treasures, and that sometimes, the value of a coin is determined not just by its metal content, but by the story it tells and the rarity of its existence. So, the next time you come across a 1985 dime in your spare change or in a collection, take a moment to inspect it closely. You never know, you might be holding a coin worth much more than just 10 cents. After all, a 1985 one dime coin, one with the right era features, in the right condition, can be worth as much as $118,000. The 1990 USA one dime coin is one such example, a seemingly unassuming dime that has quietly gained a reputation for its rarity and the intrigue it generates among numismatists. To the casual observer, it may seem like just another coin, but in the world of collectors, it's a true hidden gem. The story of the 1991 dime begins not in a vault or a collector's safe, but in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. It's a coin that has passed through countless hands since it was first minted, a tiny piece of currency that's become a fascinating symbol of the world of coin collecting. To truly understand the significance of the 1990 dime, we need to step back in time and explore its historical context. In 1990, the United States was in the midst of a pivotal decade. The country was still reeling from the effects of the 1980s, an era of economic prosperity and rapid growth. However, the early 1990s brought with them signs of economic downturn, with an impending recession looming on the horizon. Politically, the country was under the leadership of President George H. W. Bush, and internationally, the Cold War was winding down. Meanwhile, in the world of coinage, the U.S. Mint was working tirelessly to meet the country's demand for currency, including producing millions of one-dime coins each year. The 1991 dime was produced from a copper-nickel-clad composition, which had been the standard for U.S. coins since the 1960s. This shift away from silver coins was a response to rising silver prices, which made it increasingly expensive for the government to continue minting coins from precious metals. Instead, the mint turned to a durable, cost-effective blend of copper and nickel, which gave the 1990 dime its characteristic look and feel. As with all dimes since 1946, the obverse of the 1990 dime features the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, has been immortalized on the dime since his death in 1945. His profile, depicted with remarkable detail, exudes strength and resolve. Above Roosevelt's head, the word "Liberty" is inscribed, while to the left of his portrait is the phrase, "In God We Trust." Below Roosevelt's image, the year 1990 appears, marking the year of minting. On the reverse of the coin, the design is equally recognizable. A torch, olive branch, and oak branch are arranged in a way that symbolizes liberty, peace, and strength, core values of the United States. The torch represents freedom, the olive branch signifies peace, and the oak branch stands for strength. This simple but powerful design has been a hallmark of the dime since its introduction, and it remains one of the most enduring symbols in American coinage. At first glance, the 1991 dime doesn't seem to stand out from other dimes. It's just another coin, circulating alongside other denominations, performing its everyday task in the economy. However, as with many coins in the world of numismatics, it's the subtle details that can make a coin truly valuable, and the 1990 dime is no exception. Though the 1990 dime was struck with a consistent design, as with any mass-produced coin, some small variations began to emerge over time. These variations, while seemingly minor, are often what collectors look for when evaluating a coin's worth. As the years passed, a particular type of error began to be recognized in the 1990 dime, one that would lead to its rise in popularity among collectors. This error, known as the off-center strike, occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. As a result, the design appears shifted, often with part of the image missing or off the edge of the coin. In the case of the 1990 dime, these off-center strikes became highly sought after due to their rarity. The off-center strike can range in severity, from slight misalignments to more extreme examples where a significant portion of the design is missing. The more pronounced the error, the more valuable the coin becomes, but the story doesn't end there. Another type of error that began to emerge in the 1990 dime coins was the double strike error. This occurs when a coin is struck by the die more than once, causing the design to appear more than once on the coin. In some cases, the two strikes are slightly offset, creating a doubled image that catches the eye of collectors. The presence of a double strike on the 1990 dime, though rare, adds a layer of complexity and intrigue to the coin. Collectors in search of these doubled examples have driven up demand for the 1990 dimes, further increasing their value in the marketplace. As more and more collectors began to discover the potential of the 1991 dime, interest in these error-struck coins grew. Coins that had once been seen as nothing more than everyday currency began to fetch significant prices. Some of the more pristine examples, particularly those with the off-center or double strike errors, became coveted by serious collectors, who were eager to add them to their portfolios. Over time, the 1991 dime became a symbol of how even the most ordinary pieces of currency could hold immense value if they possessed the right attributes. In fact, one particularly rare example of a 1990 dime, featuring both an off-center strike and a double strike, has recently sold for an astonishing $112,000. This particular coin, with its unique errors and impeccable condition, became a prime example of how a seemingly inconspicuous dime could transform into a highly sought-after collectible. The story of the 1991 dime is a powerful reminder of the unpredictable nature of numismatics. Coins that once circulated freely in the pockets of millions of people can, over time, take on a life of their own in the world of collectors. What was once worth just 10 cents can, in the right circumstances, be worth a small fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1990 dime, take a moment to inspect it closely. While most of them are likely to be standard, everyday coins, there could be a rare gem hiding in plain sight. After all, a 1991 dime with the right errors, in the right condition, could one day be worth $112,000, and that's a number that no one could have predicted when the coin was first minted.